How we doing? Go ahead.
What are the challenges of implementing a new offense when you're so uncertain of Kyler's status?
Yeah, we're going to build the offense around Kyler, and then when he's ready to play, he's going to play. But we'll fit in a couple different things that we want to do to maximize his skill set, and then whoever ends up playing, we'll tailor fit it around who's playing for us to start the year.
Jonathan, we haven't had a chance to talk to you since the Super Bowl. I know it's your previous job, but what do you think happened in the second half? What were the reasons for the show?
Yeah, they made a lot of good plays in that second half. We weren't able to get some stops when we needed to. I obviously could have done a better job of coaching a couple things that I want out of the call. So tough to swallow when you look back at that because it's such a big stage and we didn't get it done for the city, for Mr. Lurie, for Howie, and for the head coach. But learned a lot from it, and you got to give credit to Kansas City. But obviously I could have done a lot better job with what we were doing.
JT, what were some specific things you look back on that maybe
just how we set up a couple calls, situationally, I could have done a better job with that. And, really that's what it came down to. I think situationally could have put our guys in a better spot than I put them in.
Jonathan, with the college coaches that you guys have on staff, how do you lean on them and will you lean on them as you guys get into draft staff?
Yeah, good question. We're gonna use everybody's brain that we can for information about the players and acquisition period that we're started the process in today. So feel good about their knowledge base, and we'll call a lot of people and talk to a lot of people, and obviously the people in your building you trust. So we're going to lean on those guys' opinion when it's applicable, and try to make the best decision for the Cardinals.
Jonathan, the Cardinals have one home win in the last 16-plus months. How do you go about reestablishing home field advantage at State Farm Stadium?
Yeah, that's you want to win every game that you play. You know what I mean? So I think that I didn't know that stat off the top of my head, but you want it to be a hard place for people to come in and play. And I've played against Arizona a couple times when they were kind of rolling, and it's a hard place to play. It's good fans. It gets loud. So we want to put a product on the field that we can establish. Home field advantage comes from the team being good. So that's what we need to do first.
Jonathan, with free agency, obviously Monty's going to have those decisions to make, but what's your role there? How much say can you have in what guys you might want to chase?
Yeah, obviously, if you talk to Monty, everything's going to be pretty collaborative. So we're going to lean on his side a lot, and he'll lean on our side a lot. But ultimately, it's not about who's making decisions. It's about we make the right decisions for the Cardinals. And, the vision that I had of how I wanted to work with the personnel, the coaches, how we're going to work with the personnel side, vice versa, aligns, very much in the same. So, just excited about getting that process, which we've done. We've, started that. And, we just got to be right on the people that we bring in to help our team win.
John, in reference to the Super Bowl, you mentioned specific calls. So you had no problems with the game plan coming in. What specifically was the game plan?
Yeah, Jeff, I've answered two questions about that. I'm sorry, I'm going to not talk about that one. But, I kind of moved on from that. But just as always, guys, when you're the leader of a unit or the leader of a team, everything that goes on that field is my responsibility. And, obviously them scoring what they scored, how the second half went, I didn't do a good enough job.
If we're just looking back at your entire tenure, certain quarterbacks had a lot of success against you guys. Looking upon that specifically too, and is that something that looking forward is something that you feel like is something?
Yeah, absolutely. I look at everything and use everything as a learning tool. So we'll continue to evaluate that in the seat I'm in, and hopefully I can help the defensive side with what some of the things that I could have done better and what some things that we did well too. Say it one more time.
What type of messaging and advice did Nick Sirianni have for you?
Yeah, he's been awesome. Obviously, the relationship I have with Nick, but be yourself, and we haven't had to spend too much time on when I ended up taking this job because of the prep that he did with me for the last 2 years that I've been with him. So, extremely grateful to Nick for bringing me in, looping me in on a lot of those things. And like I said, he really taught me how to be prepared to be a head coach. And I'm using a lot of things that we talked about through the last couple years and applying those to our team now.
General terms. Clarify that the conversations with Jeffrey about looking wanting to bring you back was
Yeah, we just had a conversation, the whole, the head coach with Nick and Howie and Mr. Lurie, and we had a conversation after the game and decided that I wanted to pursue this job and went from there.
Jonathan, when you talk about two players, impact players in the SEC, Isaiah Simmons and Jalen Carter, how do you go about comparing those two positions, outside linebacker and defensive tackle, and deciding what the best option, if it is the best option for you guys to make?
Yeah, those are two premium positions with how we want to play defense in Arizona because we know that they're impact positions. So we'll evaluate those guys like we evaluate everybody, but those are premium positions, and if they fit being an Arizona Cardinal, then we'll make that call.
Jonathan, what made you want to interview DeMarcus Covington for your TC opening? If you did interview, how did that go?
Yeah, his interview went extremely. He's right there. He'll be a defensive coordinator next year. Having known Coach Belichick for a little bit, obviously the respect I have for him and his mind, wanted to talk to DeMarcus, and I've known DeMarcus for a couple years now through some relationships in the business, and his interview was very impressive, and I learned a lot. And I actually told Coach Belichick that after. You can tell that Coach Belichick knows how to coach the coaches because this guy was on it. So it was a really cool interview for me.
When did you cross paths with Bill?
I don't know, maybe 7 years ago at a pro day. Where I really got to know him a little bit is we practiced versus New England in Philly. They came for a couple days, so got to sit down and talk with them. And then just having a little bit of a relationship with him. I know everyone pulls him in different directions, so I'm aware of his time, but just value the conversations and the advice that he gave me when I got this job.
Jonathan, what drew you to Drew Peckson's agency? What qualities does he have?
Yeah, how I worked with Drew for 4 years, and you can identify pretty quickly in a building with whatever role people are in. You can identify those guys as someone that can ascend and take on more responsibility, and just really, how he thinks about the game, the different systems that he's been in, the different positions he's coached. I thought that was pretty cool. I like that. And then really what it came down to was how he wants to play offense and how he saw the offense being built around Kyler and how he was going to maximize Kyler. So that's what it came down to, and I'm excited about that hire.
You were a three-sport athlete. Is that important to you when you talk to prospects here at the Combine?
That was pushed on us when the high school that I went to, they didn't want you to specialize in one sport. Everyone has a different path, but it doesn't hurt that guys are good athletes and can do other things as well, because typically some of those skills from different sports translate to what they're doing. But if a guy's just played football his whole career and he's an ass kicker, then that's cool too. Yeah, good question. So, I told Kyler, I'm not going to rush him back, because part of what makes Kyler so elite is his, are his legs. So when he's ready to play, he'll play. I don't know exactly the timetable right now. Everyone heals a little bit differently. Everyone comes back from rehab a little differently. And everyone's different in that aspect. So I like the plan where he's at. I like what he's doing right now to get himself ready to go. I've told the story. The guy's attacking his rehab. He wants to be out there as fast as he can. As soon as he's ready, then we'll put him out there. But if he's not ready to go, we'll have a plan in place to play and win games with who we have playing quarterback for us.
As far as where you stand with the quarterback draft, and who do you think the top 4 or 5 guys?
Corner, yeah. those guys' skill set, they're out there on an island by themselves. I look for speed and how fast can they go from A to B. That's because their game on the perimeter is, can you deny the football when you need to deny the football. So I'm looking for coverage first, and then there's some other traits that we look for. But that'll be fun to sit down and evaluate those guys, start stacking them up. And but you can get what I just said, deny the football done a lot of different ways too. And that's the part about being adaptable you hear me talk about. Just because I like to play a certain way, if it doesn't fit with how that guy likes to play a certain way or how he likes to play and get what we need to get done within the defense, then we'll allow him to do that. And the thing that I talk about with our players, and a lot of them have heard me say this already, even though we haven't had our first team meeting, but both offense, defense, special teams, like there's a canvas and it's their canvas, and you can use all the tools and colors that you want as long as you're within that canvas, but you got to stay within the canvas. So that'll be a cool thing for our guys to realize, hey, it's not our way or the highway. They'll have some autonomy to say, hey, I'd rather play like this, and we'll allow them as long as they can get what we're asking them done.
As far as putting your staff together, what understanding did you have with Nick about bringing coaches over due to those attention?
Good question, Zach. We talked about it leading up into the process, and he was comfortable with how we did things. And I actually made a mistake with him early in the process, and I apologize for that mistake. But you learn as you go. But he was on board with everything that I wanted to do. I'm not going to get into that, Jeff.
And then also Nick Gore, who you guys know, one of our core people, leaders, and
it's a great job. I wouldn't have any advice. Go in there and be you, and make sure the players understand why you're doing things, because that is a fantastic room that Howie has built. A lot of high football character guys, and they want to win and they want to improve. So I would say go be you and do a good job. No, I don't think that. Sometimes that helps with guys that are familiar with what you want to do, but honestly, we're going to, the defense and the schemes and how we play is going to be built around our guys. So there will be a little bit of carryover, but it's not, a copy and paste job of, hey, this is the 2022 Eagles playbook, this is what we're doing. It will not be that. So we'll tailor fit what we're doing around our guys.
It happened.
Aaron Brooks and
for a year last year.
Yeah, I don't think that's a prerequisite to be an offensive coordinator. I do think it helps, and I've been around some really good offensive coordinators. You saw who I was around in Philly. Those guys all coach the quarterback position. I think what the advantage of it is the guy that you have on the field, there's one guy that you have on the field that's closest to being a coach, a direct reflection of the coach, and that is the quarterback. So you really want the guy that, that's coaching the quarterback or putting in the offense to understand where the quarterback's coming from as well. And what our quarterback is thinking, what the play caller's thinking, vice versa. You want those guys to be on the same page. So I saw the blueprint happen right in front of my eyes, how I kind of see that going and how I want that done. Not to say that our guys won't spin it their own way, because they got to be who they are too. But I thought it was definitely an advantage.
What position do you feel like Isaiah Simmons' best position is moving into his?
Yeah, good question. I look forward to figuring that out with him, and the coaches. It's not going to be, hey, you're stuck in this box, this is what you're doing. We got to see what he can handle physically and mentally, and know that he's a unique skill set guy, and we will use him accordingly.
Definitely, we knew we were going to have a hard time re-signing Wayne, so to be able to get left tackles and take the deal for us. We knew we wanted.
Yeah, Brian's going to be the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles for a reason. He's on it. And he's an extremely detailed coach, and he's a very good communicator, and he'll do an excellent job for them.
The two corners, Tariq, you guys haven't seen Tyreek yet. A couple days of practice, he looked outstanding. He's had some physical things going on.
Yeah, I've always kind of been like that. Some of my mentors taught me that at a young age. You know, you can kind of go about it two ways. It's either my way or the highway, or you can collaborate with the players. And just like I talked about with the canvas, we're going to give them tools that they need to make it their defense, their team, their offense. And, you know, I just value the opinion of the players, you know, because I always say they're in between the white lines, I'm not. And so I want to make sure that they're comfortable with what we're asking them to do, and that they can go out and function and get the job done. So, you know, it's a players' league, so it's not about the coaches, it's about the players. So we'll always coach with that in mind. Good question.
Maybe from a confidence standpoint, or just what I understand, weren't necessarily able to compete, but
yeah, you know, having worked with Nick for 2 years, I saw, you know, how he understands and thinks about the game. We have some similarities and we have some differences, and I'm excited to see him put his spin on it, and hopefully that I know he'll do a good job, but I'm looking forward to see him take over that job and do a good job with it.
you know, not sound weird or anything, but we're football player that he gave years.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into advice with what Coach Belichick told me, but it was good.
How would you assess where you guys are on the defense?
One more time.
How would you assess where you guys are on the defensive line right now?
Yeah, I like some of the pieces that we have. You know, I've talked to a lot of those guys. I think that we just got to make sure that we're using them with things that they're comfortable with what we're asking them to do. I like the size and the length of our guys. I like the versatility of some of our pieces. And, you know, it's just like with Isaiah, we got to get on the grass and see what they are comfortable doing, and we got to get them in the right spots that they can have, you know, be successful.
Do you expect Hopkins to be on this team when you go around?
Yeah, I'm not sure. You know, we're looking at evaluating everybody. I know this. He's a premier receiver that you have to have a plan for, and he severely limits you with how you have to play defense when you defend a team that he's on. So look forward to getting to know Hop a little bit. And like I said, I've went against him a lot of times, played against him a lot, and he's a valuable asset for us.
Coach, we'll take one more. Coach, hey, Gio, do you have a question here?
Hold on. Oh, yeah. Hold on. I'll get back to you one minute. Go ahead. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent. I love the bow tie.
Thank you. So my question for you is, how do you plan to replicate such a great season?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You know, it's process driven, you know, and we were able to have a good season the last 2 years in Philly because we stuck to the process and we improved our players. So it'll always be, hey, how can we improve our players and serve them and maximize them? And not just the coaches, that's everybody in the building. And I think that I got a pretty good blueprint, a good handle on how to do that, having been in Philly. And look forward to getting that process going. Excellent question.
We'll make this the last one. Anything about what Frank and Chris kind of built there that you thought was
We're getting questions answered.
Yeah, you know, Chris Ballard and Frank Reich did a good job of like what I talked about Philly, and Nick took that to Philly from Indy, is helping groom guys. You know, there's no silos in the Indy building when I was there and in the Philly building that I was there. So I tell people, as long as you have an open mind and you're willing to learn and listen, then you can get some really good information and you can add that to your own game. And you know, you obviously you have to be yourself and put your own spin on it, but they did a really good job of nurturing thought process. You know, hey, I'm going to make this decision right now, and this is how I'm going to do things for our team, but what would you change? How would you do it? How would you make that better? And when you start taking those conversations to heart and you start thinking about it and writing it down, it prepares you for that next seat. So just very grateful to be around Frank and obviously Nick, and that's what was important to them as their role of being a head coach to help the assistants. And, you know, I took it to heart and tried to learn as much as I could. Good? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.